Coming up on Razorback 411, when Arkansas wide receiver Jared Cornelius isn't catching TD passes, he's getting people fired up in a different way.
Our roundtable will discuss if Mike Neighbors is the right man to lead the Hogs women's basketball program.
And we'll sit down with two of the best pole vaulters in the country, Lexi and Tori Weeks.
Razorback 411 starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Razorback 411. I'm Austin Baker.
And I'm Kramer Knib. Thanks for joining us.
The 82nd NFL Draft concluded Saturday with 9 former Razorbacks finishing the weekend on NFL teams. 3 of those 9 were drafted. Defensive lineman Dietrich Wise went to the Patriots in the 4th round. The Redskins snagged tight end Jeremy Sprinkle in the 5th round. And the Lions picked up defensive tackle Jeremiah Ledbetter in the 6th round. 6 other former Hogs were signed as undrafted free agents. 3 of them were wide receivers. Cody Hollister joined teammate Dietrich Wise with the Patriots. Drew Morgan is on his way to Miami, and Keon Hatcher will try to make the Raiders. Elsewhere, Dan Skipper was picked up by the Cowboys, cornerback Jared Collins is LA-bound, and punter Toby Baker will get his shot with the New York Jets. As of right now, neither linebacker Brooks Ellis or defensive tackle Tywan Johnson has been signed.
One Razorback who would love to hear his name called next year is Jared Cornelius. The wide receiver and his teammates just finished spring practice, which means the first game is just about 4 months away. For more on that and other things, we send it over to Anna Thrash.
Thanks, guys. Jared, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. So before we get to talk about you, I'm going to ask you about football.
Sure.
Now, out of all your former teammates heading to the NFL this year, who do you think will have the most successful career?
I think Dietrich Wise will have probably the best successful career. Just because he's just a freak. You know, he's 6'5", he's 260 pounds or whatever he may be, but he's a guy that really knows how to play football, and he's just a freak in nature. So I think he's going to have a pretty good career.
All right, well, you just wrapped up spring practice with your new teammates. Tell me one strength and one weakness that you see moving forward.
Weaknesses, I don't know. It's kind of, I guess we have a lot of new guys, especially at my position, and I think our weakness right now is just learning the offense. But I think our strong suits, one of the things that we're really good at, is we just have a lot of talented guys that can go make plays and once they know what to do offensively, like X's and O's, we'll be ready to play with anybody in the league.
All right, well, now we're going to move back to you. Tell me about your alter ego off the field, DJ J-Red. Who is that?
Well, same guy, just goes by a different name. Doesn't really play football. He does a little music. So it's just a hobby, something I love to do on the side. I love music, so whenever I can put myself around it, I enjoy it.
All right, well, how did you get into music in the first place?
Well, I've always grown up in the church. My mom was a music director at pretty much every church we went to. My sister played keyboard. My brother sang. Just was in a really musical family. So being around it, you find ways to kind of fit in. So I started on the drums, and then that transitioned to 7 instruments, and now I learned how to DJ.
Well, I heard about the 7 instruments that you know how to play, that you learned one of them off of YouTube?
Yeah, I learned how to play bass guitar off of YouTube.
Wow,
so,
that's incredible.
A little different, yeah.
So tell me about, so during the off season is when I think you try to make most of your music, is that right?
That's right, yeah. I don't have much time during the season, so in the off season I try to kind of overload myself and do as much as I can.
All right, well, tell me about that process. What do you do?
Honestly, it just depends. If I'm making a DJ set, I try to put myself in the situation, whether I'm making one for a club or like a wedding, I try to put myself in that event as I'm picking music and trying to see the transitions and things like that. But if I'm making music, it kind of just goes off of the mood I'm in. So if I sit down and produce a beat or a song, how I'm feeling that day is what kind of beat you're probably going to get. So just how I feel.
Well, moving forward in the future with music, what do you see with the future career?
The end goal is, of course, I want to play football. Music is just a hobby right now, but eventually, after my football career is over, if I'm lucky enough to go to the NFL, I want to go back to school, get my music engineering degree, and then start my own studio.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jared.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it. And back to Austin.
Thanks, Anna. With the season 4 months away, a lot of people are wondering if this could be the year for the Razorbacks to make a strong run in the SEC. But others are asking a tougher question. Is Brett Bielema really the guy to take them there?
In his 4 years on the job, his record is 25-26, probably not what Jeff Long was expecting when he agreed to pay the coach $4 million a year. But what does our roundtable think? For that, we send it over to Bray Binda Alvarez.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Lauren Craigcall and Luke Rossi. All right, so Coach B was at Wisconsin, and he started winning a lot more games every year. He progressed, and I feel like he's brought that mentality over to Arkansas. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that he should be fired. I think that we're paying him too much for like what he's doing. He's just bringing mediocrity for Arkansas. I feel like Bobby Petrino, even though he was like doesn't have Coach B's like persona, he's not a very respectable guy by any means. He at least like brought more wins in and stuff. So I just feel like Coach B like should leave.
Luke?
Yeah, I mean, Petrino was like having an affair with one of the secretaries, so that's kind of like irrelevant. That's why he got fired. It wasn't because of his football coaching. And Coach B, I mean, he went from 3-9 to 7-6 to 8-5, and then last year we saw a decrease to 7-6. But two of those games were just flopped at the end. You see it 24-7 at half, and then 24-0 at half in the bowl game. Those are two wins we should have had, but the defense couldn't get it together. You see the things he did in the offseason. He hired a new defensive coordinator, went to a 3-4, completely changed it up. You see we got the number 1 and the number 7 receiver in JUCO, so that's going to obviously add alongside the number 1 Pro Football Focus slot, Jared Cornelius. So, I mean, I think he definitely deserves at least another year before he gets put on the firing block, but
I respect what you say. I just think that he's had too many chances. Like, I just feel like we've had so many opportunities to just like really take off, and that we just like in the end just lose them because we're just such a mediocre team. Like, do you think that?
I think that we did. We have lost opportunities, but I think it had nothing to do with him. I think you see him improve in so many aspects. Bringing in Coach Enos, who just completely reestablished a balanced offense, and he's been killing it ever since. One of the best offensive coordinators in football, clearly. And then, obviously, it came down to defense last year. That was the huge issue. Everyone hated it. Everyone hated Rob Smith. And what happened? We get him out of there. We pull in a guy with such a good resume who has won so many games for other teams. He was a head coach at one point, and the players love him. Then you see the players didn't miss one workout all throughout spring training, which was the first time in Coach B's career. It shows a lot about just the new discipline that the players have brought upon themselves because of Coach B.
Well, regardless of Coach B, I don't think that Arkansas will have that good of a game this year just because, like, our biggest games, Alabama, LSU, all of them are on their turf. Like, I don't think they're going to, like, want to lose against us. And also TCU, they're not going to forget that we basically kicked them out of the national championship. So I really think all those teams are going to bring their A game.
Well, that's just the TCU thing. They weren't making it. They were like a 500 team last year, but as opposed for that, we're playing Bama at home this year, and I think anytime you're correct that anytime playing in the SEC West, it's the hardest division in football. It's going to be tough, but I mean, look at what he's done so far. I mean, we've beat Ole Miss 2 years back to back. We had beat LSU 2 years back to back. Obviously a flop last year. It was a thing, but I don't think that him being on the firing block should be an issue at this point.
I'm going to have to agree with Luke. I think he's done a great job at scouting kids from high schools and bringing them in onto the team. They've definitely improved a lot on tackling, and they have a lot more to work on, but they've definitely gotten better as the years progress under Coach B.
Well, like I said, great guy, lovely wife, charismatic personality, just not the best for the Razorbacks.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Bray Binda. Mike Neighbors is coming home to coach the women's basketball team, but will it be a happy homecoming?
We'll break it down when Razorback 411 returns. Stay with us. The Arkansas women's basketball team finished 2-14 in the SEC last year, including losing its final 11 games. That meant that head coach Jimmy Dykes had to go.
In his place comes Arkansas native Mike Neighbors. The 48-year-old Neighbors grew up in Greenwood, Arkansas, and after graduating from the U of A, coached at several high schools in the state. He then moved on to a few other places, including spending the last 4 years as the head dog of the Washington Huskies. Not only did he lead Washington to the Final Four 2 years ago, but he also coached Kelsey Plum, who last season became the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball history.
But can he do it the same thing for his hometown team? For more info on that, we send it over to Brooke Earhart.
Welcome. I'm here with Will Claviter and Kate Wiley, and we're discussing Mike Neighbors being the new women's basketball coach. So my first question is, with him having to pay $1 million contract buyout and making over $300,000 more than he did at Washington, Kate, do you think he's doing it for the long-term money?
I think money is a factor in any career and any career choice, but ultimately I think that Neighbors is coming back to Arkansas because this is his home, this is the place that he wants to be, and he loves the Razorbacks.
I mean, beyond just that, if you look at the stats, he spent over 70% of his life here in the state of Arkansas. He's devoted to this state. He loves the natural state. And plus, when you look at coaches, their main job is to win. They're always looking for a challenge. Just look at VCU with Shaka Smart. He left there to go to UT Austin, and guess what? Yeah, they aren't as good, but it's a bigger market. It's a bigger challenge. That's what coaches are made for, and that's what Mike Neighbors is trying to do here.
So, Will, how do you think that affects his loyalty to the U of A? I mean, leaving and coming back and being a part of our team again?
Well, see, because he's from the state of Arkansas and he grew up here and he's coached here before twice as an assistant, he knows what it takes to win here at Arkansas. He knows the loyalties here that it takes, and he also knows what the players want, what the players need, and also just what their feelings are about this team. They know that Arkansas is always the underdog in the SEC, and they know that all these players have grit, and they know they're going to come out and try to win every day because of that.
Okay.
You have to take career steps in every job that you're going to take, and I think that Neighbors leaving his assistant head coach job and pursuing other choices was just a way to get ahead and further his career to ultimately reach his goal, which was to be head coach of the University of Arkansas.
Okay. And I agree. I think he's going to really have to prove himself and his loyalty to the U of A and, have that same strength that he gave Washington. I mean, bringing them to the Final Four. And then Kelsey Plum is one of the top NCAA players of all time. And, coming here, we want him to do the same for that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Lexi and Tori Weeks are only sophomores, but they have already made quite a name for themselves on the track.
Up next, we'll talk to both of them right here in studio. Stick around, 411 is coming right back.
Welcome back. The University of Arkansas has long been known as the track capital of the world, and two ladies from Cabot, Arkansas are helping to keep that going.
Twin sisters Lexi and Tori Weeks are only sophomores, but they have already established themselves as two of the best pole vaulters in the country. Let's get to know them a little better. First up, Lexi. She made it to the Olympics last year in Rio at just 19 years old. This after winning 2 national championships back here in the U.S. And if that's not enough, Lexi has a 4.0 GPA in chemistry.
As for Tori, she was a first-time All-American last year, finished second at the SEC tournament, and, like her sister, has a 4.0 in chemistry. But there is much more to the Weeks sisters than just pole vaulting.
Let's find out. They're in our studio right now. Here's Heath Land.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Lexi in the center and Tori on the far end. So for those of us who probably can't tell because you guys look really similar, how can people tell you guys apart?
Well, a lot of people tell us apart because our bangs go different ways.
Okay.
So
Lexi left and Tori right, but usually the L, Lexi left. That's how a lot of people usually tell us apart when we have our hair down.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. All right. You guys have a lot of similarities. One of those being that you guys are both chemistry majors.
Mm-hmm.
Why chemistry?
Well, I think we both kind of want to do something in the medical field, but I know for me, I didn't want to do anything dealing with blood and all the gross stuff, so I think pharmacy was kind of something that I wanted to do, so that's why I chose biochemistry. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and both of us, we kind of just were interested with pharmacy, and that's what we'd like to do, go to pharmacy school after we graduate here, and so chemistry was kind of the perfect fit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You guys are also, speaking of similarities, y'all are both engaged.
Right.
Yes.
So what's up with that? Are you guys just the same person?
Well, I guess we like to do everything together. I've been dating my fiance now for almost 5 years, so it's been something I've been kind of waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lexi met her fiance a little over a year ago, and they decided it was their right time too, so I guess we're now engaged together. At the same time, we're both getting married this summer, a month apart. So.
Right, so weddings is what we have on our minds right now, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. We like to do everything together, I guess.
Y'all just planned it all out?
It wasn't supposed to be like this, but it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys are so similar, obviously, in a lot of ways. But for our sake, what are some of y'all's biggest differences?
I'd say probably our personalities.
Yeah.
Usually I'm a bit more outgoing and talkative, maybe a little bit bossy sometimes.
Yes,
but
definitely bossy. So that's probably our personality differences would be our biggest thing that sets us apart.
Yeah, I'd say I'm probably a little bit more reserved and shy, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So that's how, when people get to know us, they say they can separate the two of us based on personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You guys probably know each other better than anybody else does. So I was wondering if you guys could give me something for each that maybe somebody doesn't know, that nobody knows, I guess.
Ooh. I don't know. What does no one know about you?
What's a dark secret?
Dark
I'm just
secret.
kidding.
I don't really know. Probably we just like to have fun and goof off together. I mean, we spend literally like almost 24/7 with each other because we take all the same classes. We're in the same major. We go to practice together. So when we're in the cars, or in the car like riding to school or something, some people like they always ask if we bicker or anything or if we fight, and we really don't fight a whole lot. But we have these little arguments, and usually I'm probably the more bossy one, like I said earlier. But there's nothing really crazy about her that people don't really know.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So you guys have, like you guys were saying, y'all spent your whole lives together basically. At some point, y'all are probably going to be apart. Have y'all ever thought about that?
I mean, people ask us if it's going to be hard to separate. And, I mean, of course I'll be sad, but at the same time, I mean, you got to move on at some point. I think the biggest thing that we always joke about is because we share all of our clothes, we share everything. So we always talk about if we split apart, it's going to be so hard because we're going to have to split up the clothes and who gets what. That's going to be
That's going to be a bad day. We're both going to be arguing, I think, all day about who gets what.
Yeah. It's just who gets custody over all the.
That's right. We share so many
That's
things,
right.
and we've spent, like you said, our whole lives together. So that'll be interesting when we do finally split apart.
All right. Well, thank you guys both for coming. Wish you guys the best of luck and the rest of y'all's careers here at U of A.
Thank you.
And we're going to send it back to Kramer.
Thank you, Heath. And if you ever want to see Lexi and Tori in action, there are plenty of good seats available.
In this week's commentary, James Crone encourages us, the student body, to support what is by far the most successful sport on this campus.
The Arkansas men's and women's track and field teams are some of the most decorated programs in the nation. Having won a combined 43 national championships, it is the most successful athletic program on campus, but it does not get the support it deserves from Razorback Nation. Just last year, Jarian Lawson, a men's track athlete, won 3 individual national championships and represented the Razorbacks in the Olympics. Lawson was one of 14 track and field athletes to represent the Hogs in Rio. His former teammate, Omar McLeod, won the gold in the 110-meter hurdles. The women's team also won the outdoor national championships last season for the first time in school history, which came a year after they won the indoor national championships. The track and field programs, however, do not come close to the attendance of the bigger sports, and this needs to change. These teams provide more wins than any at the university, and yet very few people go to the meets. Without them, Arkansas would only have 2 championships, one in football and one in basketball. These student athletes deserve more for all the time, work, and dedication they have given to this university, and we as students should support them. I'm James Crone.
Thanks, James. So with our awesome track team, students should know a lot about Razorback athletics, right?
Well, you would think, but you know how kids are these days with their phones. But we'll put them to the test when we come back.
Welcome back to Razorback 411. This campus is known for its love of sports, so I like to think we're all pretty knowledgeable when it comes to Razorback athletics. We sent Luke Rossi out to find out just how smart we really are.
This morning they announced that Arkansas is leaving the SEC to join the Big 12. How does that make you feel?
Well, weren't they in the Big 12 before?
Originally, yes.
Okay, so, well, that's cool because, like, they're going back, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that might be a good move. SEC is obviously a pretty hard conference. I mean, Big 12 wouldn't be easy either, but either way, you got some good teams, some good games in, and might be able to compete a little bit more in the Big 12. We'll see.
I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, I could cry right now.
Don't do that.
No, like, the SEC is kind of like, I grew up reading for the SEC, and that's, like, been life.
I'm not really a fan of it. Yeah, me neither. This morning they announced that Arkansas will be leaving the SEC to join the Big 12. How did it make you feel when you heard that?
That sounds amazing.
It'll be a good move, I think. There's some competition in both of the conferences, but we'll try to see if they can hang in either one or the other one. There's a lot of competition in the conference they're in now, so making the move, they probably could face some more competition, or they might be able to hang a little bit better. So we'll see how it goes.
I recently heard that you're going to be going into the draft.
Well, yeah, man, you know, see what happens in the draft or whatever.
Yeah, I heard already, though, that Jeremy Sprinkle already got taken in the first round.
Oh, yeah, already, man. That's crazy.
How did you feel when Coach Bielema announced that Austin Allen won't be the starter and they're going to go with walk-on Luke Rossi?
I don't know. I feel like you should have gave Austin Allen more of a chance to prove himself.
No doubt. I mean, Luke Rossi's pretty good, though.
Yeah, he is.
I guess they can give him a chance to prove himself if he really got it in him, you know, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on him anyway if they taking somebody else out to replace him with him.
Yeah. Luke's pretty good, though, don't you think?
Yeah, he is. He really is.
I'm also tired of the Allen brothers. I think the dynasty needs to end. That's you, isn't it? Are you Luke?
I am.
Oh, awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. I hope you got a good arm.
Walk-ons, they can show up sometimes. I mean, I'd be impressed to see what happens. I have faith in him. If the head coach says it goes, and it should go. I mean, he makes good decisions, so we'll see how that happens.
Luke Rossi's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm Luke Rossi. Nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
You think we should brush up on our sports knowledge a little bit?
I think we might need to do that.
Well, that will do it for today's edition of Razorback 411. I'm Austin Baker.
And I'm Kramer Knipp. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.